Qatar's energy warning, a crisis for Europe. Qatar is taking a bold step that could force Europe to reevaluate its entire energy strategy. The Gulf nation, a key supplier of liquefied natural gas, LNG, is threatening to halt gas shipments to Europe if the European Union moves forward with a new law. This isn't just a minor regulatory disagreement. It's a situation that could throw Europe's already strained energy market into complete disarray. Europe has been grappling with energy challenges for years, from the fallout of Russia's invasion of Ukraine to rising energy costs and a push toward greener energy solutions. This latest development isn't just another obstacle. It has the potential to reshape the continent's energy future on a massive scale. The controversial law at the heart of the crisis. The law causing this standoff is designed to impose stricter environmental and labor standards on businesses operating within the EU. On paper, it appears to be a progressive move toward corporate accountability and sustainability. However, for Qatar, which supplies a significant portion of Europe's natural gas, this law represents a direct threat to its business model. If passed, Qatari companies could face steep fines for failing to meet these stringent new standards. Qatar, however, views this not as a simple matter of compliance, but as a potential deal-breaker. The nation has made it clear that if the EU enforces these regulations, it might have no choice but to cut off gas supplies to Europe entirely. This isn't just posturing. This is a serious warning that has the potential to disrupt the energy market on an unprecedented scale. Europe's dependence on Qatari gas. Qatar is one of the world's largest exporters of LNG and plays a critical role in supplying energy to Europe. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine severely disrupted Russian energy supplies, Europe has become increasingly dependent on Qatari gas to fill the gap. With its vast reserves and well-established LNG infrastructure, Qatar has positioned itself as an indispensable partner in Europe's energy mix. However, this reliance is a double-edged sword. If Qatar follows through on its threat, the consequences for Europe could be dire. LNG is a cornerstone of Europe's energy strategy, particularly during the colder months when demand surges. Losing this vital supply could leave many European countries scrambling to secure alternative sources, which would be both expensive and logistically challenging. The ripple effect of Qatar's threat. Should Qatar halt gas exports to Europe, the impact would be felt immediately and across multiple sectors. Energy prices would likely skyrocket, placing immense pressure on both governments and consumers. Industries that rely heavily on stable and affordable energy, such as manufacturing and transportation, could be forced to scale back operations, leading to job losses and economic uncertainty. This isn't just about energy. It's about stability. Europe has already been on edge due to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and the economic repercussions that have followed. An energy crisis of this magnitude could exacerbate political tensions, trigger protests, and deepen economic instability. The stakes are incredibly high. Global implications of Qatar's bold move. Qatar's warning is not just a challenge for Europe. It's a wake-up call for the entire world. By leveraging its energy exports as a political tool, Qatar is demonstrating the growing power of resource-rich nations in shaping global policy. This move could set a precedent, encouraging other energy-producing countries to use their resources as leverage in negotiations. For Europe, this is a moment of reckoning. The EU's commitment to ambitious green energy goals has been a central pillar of its strategy to combat climate change. However, this crisis highlights the challenges of balancing environmental priorities with the need for reliable energy supplies. Europe is now faced with a difficult choice. Should it stand firm on its environmental and labor standards, even at the risk of triggering an energy crisis? Or should it prioritize securing its energy supply, potentially compromising on its values in the process? The search for alternatives. If Qatar follows through on its threat, Europe will have no choice but to seek alternative energy sources. The United States, with its vast shale gas reserves, is one potential option. But importing American LNG comes with its own set of challenges, including higher costs and logistical hurdles. Other energy exporting nations could step in to fill the gap, But new deals would take time to negotiate and implement. Meanwhile, Europe's push for renewable energy continues. But the continent is far from ready to rely solely on wind, solar, and other green sources. The transition to renewable energy is a long-term goal, and this crisis underscores how vulnerable Europe still is to disruptions in the natural gas market. The larger game at play. This standoff isn't just about energy. It's about power and influence on the global stage. By threatening to cut off gas supplies, Qatar is asserting its position as a key player in the international energy market. This move signals a shift in global energy dynamics, where resource-rich nations wield increasing influence over geopolitics. Other countries are watching closely. If Qatar succeeds in pressuring the EU to reconsider its regulations, it could inspire similar tactics from other energy-exporting nations. This could fundamentally change the way energy is traded and politicized, making the market more unpredictable and volatile. What's next for Europe? The EU is now at a crossroads. Scrapping the proposed law might keep the gas flowing, but it would also signal a retreat from the bloc's commitment to environmental and labor reforms. On the other hand, standing firm could push Europe into an energy crisis, with far-reaching consequences for its economy and political stability. Time is not on Europe's side. Decisions made in the coming weeks and months will shape the continent's energy strategy for years to come. The EU must weigh its options carefully, balancing the immediate need for energy security with its long-term vision for a greener, more sustainable future. The economic fallout. If Qatar stops supplying LNG, the economic consequences would be severe. Energy prices would surge, exacerbating inflation and placing additional financial strain on consumers already grappling with high living costs. Industries that rely heavily on energy would be hit hardest, potentially leading to widespread job losses and a slowdown in economic growth. For governments, this would pose a complex challenge: how to manage limited energy resources while mitigating the economic fallout. Rationing energy or providing subsidies to struggling industries might be necessary, but such measures would come at a significant cost. A test of Europe's resolve. This crisis is a test of Europe's resilience and adaptability. The EU has long prided itself on its commitment to progressive values, including environmental sustainability and social responsibility. But this standoff with Qatar forces the bloc to confront the trade-offs inherent in those values. Should Europe prioritize its green agenda, even at the risk of alienating key energy partners? Or should it focus on securing its energy supply, potentially delaying its transition to renewable energy? There are no easy answers, but one thing is clear: the decisions made now will have lasting implications for Europe's energy future. A pivotal moment in global energy. The world is watching as this drama unfolds. Qatar's warning has set the stage for what could be a pivotal moment in global energy history. The outcome of this standoff will not only determine Europe's energy strategy, but also influence how nations around the world approach energy policy and geopolitics. Whether the EU and Qatar find a way to resolve their differences or plunge into a full-blown crisis, this is just the beginning of a much larger story. The energy landscape is shifting, and the next chapter will be written in the decisions made today. Europe's response will shape its future and its place in the world for years to come.